Hey guys, check out this gorgeous limestone and brick patio that my buddy Brent Hall just finished recently. You know, over the years I've gotten a lot of questions about maintenance and sealing for these stone patios. Now these are a great choice because they're never going to rot, but they're going to change the look over time. So in the build show today, we're going to go over limestone, brick, marble, terrazzo, all these natural stone surfaces and what to do for maintenance and for sealing. Today's build show is sponsored by Prosigo. Let's get going. Hey guys, back up here in Fort Worth with my master builder friend, Brent Hall. Brent, I love coming to your projects because they are always gorgeous, like this one.
We're very lucky.
Now this patio on this house, this is new, but this house is not a new house, is it?
No, it's a Joseph Pellicotti. He's a regional architect, 1926, 28, so it's almost 100 years old. And then we built wings on the side, and we did this deck and the pool and this kind of view back here. But yeah, 100 years old house.
Dang, beautiful work.
Yeah.
Now in this video, Brent, we're gonna give these guys some info on horizontal patios.
Right.
But I also wanna talk a little bit about brick and vertical surfaces because I get asked a lot about sealing and what do we wanna seal and what don't we wanna seal.
Correct.
Now this is a both Luder's limestone, which is a Texas limestone, but it could be other natural stones. This could have very well been a terrazzo,
right?
A marble. What other natural stones have you used for patios?
Slate, or you know, bluestone, or you know, Pennsylvania bluestone. So,
and any of those natural stones, in my experience, are generally pretty porous.
Correct.
Which means that over time, even though we're kind of white and pretty and beautiful now because you just finished, this is going to darken over time. It's going to get spotting. It might have some kind of mold-looking growth. It might have some, potentially, even if there's water running down it, could even get some green streaks in it from bacteria or whatever.
Yeah, and what happened was when we did this 20 years ago, we built this on a lightweight concrete, but we didn't have a good sealer for that concrete. And if we had something like this Prosigo product we're using now, it might have lasted longer, but the underlayment failed. And so we're standing over a living area, and so we were beginning to see early signs of leaking. And so we had to take it up, you know, put a new underlayment on, and then this Prosigo product will help the longevity of this thing, the maintenance piece of this thing, last, you know, 100 years is what we're hoping.
So in other words, this sealer that you put on is really a cosmetic-based sealer that's not a waterproofer, correct?
Correct. Well, yeah, we don't expect the water to beat up and it not to penetrate the stone. It's too porous.
Right.
And, you know, I think they said it's a 7 to 10 year product on this thing. So you're right. We had to do the waterproofing on the base layer, and then this is a maintenance piece, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the first takeaway for this video is, look, anything you're doing sealer-wise on your patio, your stone surfaces on the outside, it's really for aesthetic reasons, not waterproofing reasons, which also then goes back to your brick. You know, for instance, this brick is painted, Brent, but brick that's painted is not actually waterproof. Water can penetrate that.
True.
And so the reason why we like brick facades is because usually when the bricklayer lays brick, there's an air gap behind it. So any water that penetrates the brick can fall into that air gap and dry through those loopholes.
For sure.
And in fact, on your projects, Brent, you go one step further. I've seen you use stucco on block so that you get that same air gap.
Well, right, because when you do stucco right onto a sheathing material, there's no air gap there.
Right.
So we're trying to build that block wall out so put the air gap back into there so we have a 100-year product.
That's right. Now, if you're a builder watching this, one of the things that you need to know about natural stones on the outside is that you need to set good expectations for your client. So this patio, even though we seal it, it's not going to look like this again in 1 year or 5 years.
Right.
And this is probably a good example of that, right, Brent?
No doubt. So you're going to see some patina in limestone. It's a real porous material, right? And so some designers don't even want you to clean it because they want that patina. If you go to England where they use limestone, that the age and the lichen and the other things that are growing, they like that. And so we want to blend that. We don't want it perfectly white. We want it to look like it's aged. So
you use several Prosigo products to kind of clean this.
Correct.
But we didn't necessarily clean it so clean that it was stark white again. And this lamp I thought was a good example of that. I actually saw some images of this before, And this had, because it's a copper lamp,
Right.
it had that kind of greenish copper.
Correct.
And you've gotten like 90% of it out, but you look,
Most
there's
of it.
still a little bit of that green.
That's true. That's
patina
exactly
on there.
right. So,
And what is the age of the pool deck down here, which is a similar limestone, Brent? Because I think that's kind of an interesting story.
The whole thing was done 20 years ago, and then this underlayment began to fail in the last year, and so that is still 20 years ago. Had a sealer on it, doesn't stain as we talked about earlier, but yeah, this is all the same age.
So that's a great example for your clients to go, okay, when we seal it, this is really what this is going to look like.
Right.
Over time.
This should be your expectation, right? Of what, you know, the age and the stone. Sometimes clients will say, you know, the color difference between pieces, which you really can't help because it's a natural product. And so some of that is kind of the magic of a natural stone that, you know, makes it beautiful. People like it.
For sure. Now, Brent, at Prosigo, I've used a lot of their waterproofing products over the years, but they have a whole masonry division, and I think you even met with one of their Texas reps to talk about product, what product to use, how to use it, how to apply it. So they've got all kinds of different cleaning options for you and sealing products, right?
Well, they're a complete company in that you know, a lot of our work is historic preservation work. We're working on courthouses and these big commercial products that buildings that are 100 years old. They have stitch ties. They have you know, brick hangers. They have stone hangers. They are a complete service company that understands, especially historic masonry, how to seal it, how to clean it, how to reattach it. I mean, they're an awesome company.
Yeah, and they also had some really good tech people that helped your people in the field make sure they were getting applied.
No doubt.
Right?
They met us out here. I mean, a couple guys met us out here, walked us through, gave us great expectations of what, you know, what we should expect and, you know, what to tell the client. And so maintenance, right? I mean, they're a solid company.
Two things I think are the takeaways for me on this project, Brent. Number one, remember that no matter what sealer you're using, it's not a waterproofer. You're really just aesthetically sealing it and trying to keep stains and patinas from things happening on that. And number two, anything you've got on your exterior patios is going to be porous when it comes to natural stones. Last takeaway though that I want to mention while we're at this gorgeous house, Brent, I'm noticing that as we look back on this house, everywhere you've got brick, you've either, number one, got a nice copper flashing where that brick meets a roof surface, and number two, the entire roof has been guttered, which means that there's no water flowing down the face of that brick and staining that, and there's also no water falling from a roof line onto this deck, which would also cause probably additional staining.
Well, and we've got some natural fall in this deck, and so that helps it run the water off as well. But yeah, I mean, we're managing water, right? I mean, we're managing, you know, that the moisture and everything else. Water's the enemy, and so you've got to fight it on a number of different levels to be successful.
Yeah, and I would tell you over the years, whenever I've seen stains on houses, especially stone houses, meaning the gutters weren't there, there weren't kick-out flashings, usually there's problems behind that when we've remodeled. So anytime we see staining, that's usually a bellwether for problems later.
That's my experience too.
Brent, amazing work. Guys,
Thanks,
if
Matt.
you're not following Brent on Instagram, amazing builder. He's shooting videos over on our buildshownetwork.com as well, and once a week he's publishing videos from his houses that are both new houses that look old and houses like this that are 100 years old that have an addition that I had no idea weren't historic original pieces in the house. So amazing work as always, guys.
Cool.
Hey, big shout out to our friends at Prosigo for sponsoring today's video. As Brent mentioned and I mentioned, they've got some amazing products really for all kinds of different masonry on the outside and inside of your building. So reach out to those guys. They have an amazing tech network, and you can even buy some of their products online as well. Link in the description for all that. If you're not a Build Show subscriber, hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content every Tuesday and every Friday. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.